Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree comes as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been slain in the flame of a withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of our captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation of the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro live on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material poverty. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in a corner of the American society and found himself still in his own land. And so we have come here today to dramatize the shameful condition. In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check. Where the archicade of our republic wrote the magnificent word of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. We were signing commissioner note which every American was to follow here. This note was a promise. The old man, yes, black man as well white man, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obviously today the American has developed on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this scary obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check. A check which has come back marked insufficient fund. But we refuse to believe that the bank of justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there is sufficient fund in the great value of opportunity of this nation. And so, we come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon them the reach of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this horrible spot to remind Americans of the fierce urgency of now. It is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilization drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promise of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and dissolved value of the segregation to sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksand and the racial justice to soil rock of the brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality to all of God's children. It will be fatal of the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This weathering summer of the Negroes' legitimate discontent will not pass until there is a invigoration autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. And those who hope that the Negro needs to blow off storm and will now be content will have a rude awaken if the nation return the business as usual. And there will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The withering of revolt will continue to shake foundation of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm sharp sword which lead into a palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deed. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirsty for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of indignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise the majestic height of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militance which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a disgrace of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evident by their presence here today, have come to realize their destiny is tied up with our destiny, and they have come to realize that their freedom is intricately bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we could walk, we must make plain that we show always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is a victim of the unspoken honor of policy property. We can never be satisfied as long as our body heavy with the fatigue of the travel cannot get locked in of the motels, of the highway and the hotel of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro basic Mobility is from a smaller galaxy to a larger one. We cannot be satisfied as long as our children are stripped their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by the sign of standing for white only. We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied. And we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and the righteousness like a mountain strong. I'm not mindful that some of you have come here out of great trouble of a tribulation. Some of you have come fresh from a narrow jail cell, and some of you have come from narrow where you quest. Quest for freedom left you battered by the storm of a persecution and the struggle by the wind of the policy battery. You have been the veteran of the creative suffering, continuing to work with the faith that unearned suffering and the redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the South and gather of another city. Knowing that so me how this situation can and will be changed. That is not our in the valley of the despair. I say to you today, my friend, and so even though we face the difficulty of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream. One day this nation will rise up and live out a true meaning of this creed. We hold these truths to self-evident and all men are created equal. I have a dream. One day on the red hill of Georgia and the son of a former slave and the son of the former slave owners will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream. One day when the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transferred into the seas of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down to the Obama led with the visual resolutivity with the government having his lip dropped with the words of interpretation and unification. One day, right here, right there, Alabama, little black boy and a little black girl will be able to join hands with a little white boy and white girl as sister and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted and every hill and mountains shall be made low. The rough place will be made plain. The crooked place will be may strength, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and the all flesh shall be seen together. This is our hope, and this is the faith that I go back to the south with. With this faith, we will be able to haul out the mountain, despair, a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the juggling discord of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And this will be the day. This will be the day when all God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, live of the live, sweet land of the liberty, of did I sing. Land where my father died, land where the pilgrim bride. From every mountain side let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring from the proliferation hill of the New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the Mine Mountain of the New York. Let freedom ring from the high tide of the hands of Revelation near. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped rockets of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the cavernous slope of the California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from the Lookout Mountain of the Tennessee. Let freedom ring from the Everhill and the Molehill of the Mississippi. For every mountain size, let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up the day when all of God's children, black men and white, Joe and Jonathan, Protestant or Catholic, will be able to join hands and sing in the word of an old Negro spirit. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.